You're 19 when they first call you Golden Boy. Not to your face. You hear it through a half-open door. Kid's got instincts, someone says. Natural, another replies. He's going to be something. You pretend you didn't hear it. But that night, you don't sleep. Because for the first time in your life, someone important noticed you. You weren't born into this. Your father drove trucks. Your mother cleaned offices after midnight. You grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment above a bakery that smelled like burnt sugar and grease. You weren't tough. You weren't rich. You were invisible. Until the night you didn't run. You're 17. A group of men corner your older cousin outside a bar. Wrong debt. Wrong place. Wrong time. Everyone freezes. You don't. You grab a bottle. Swing first. Hard. You don't win. But you don't run either. Someone in a black coat watches from across the street. That's the night everything changes. They bring you in slow. You start at the bottom. Coffee runs. Door duty. Driving senior members to meetings. Cleaning blood off warehouse floors without asking questions. You learn quickly. You don't talk too much. You don't ask stupid questions. You remember everything. Hierarchy is simple. Boss at the top. Underboss below. Capos, soldiers. Then you. You learn loyalty isn't spoken. It's tested. And you pass every test. At 20, you handle your first negotiation alone. A nightclub owner wants protection, but doesn't want to pay full price. You sit across from him in a leather booth. You don't threaten him. You explain market realities. You explain risks. You explain what happens when other crews notice weakness. Your voice is calm, measured. He pays. When you hand the envelope upward, the underboss studies you differently. Not like a recruit, like an asset. The nickname becomes official at 22. Golden Boy. You rise faster than anyone in a decade. You don't drink too much. You don't gamble recklessly. You don't lose your temper. You make money. And money is power. But power creates gravity. And gravity pulls enemies closer. The older capos start whispering. He's too young. Boss favors him. He hasn't paid his dues. You hear it. You pretend you don't. Because the boss trusts you, he invites you to private dinners, asks your opinion on expansion, puts you in charge of new territory. You tell yourself it's respect. It's not. It's positioning. At 26, you oversee a port shipment. Clean operation. Careful planning. It gets intercepted. Not by accident. Police knew exact timing, exact container, exact route. There's a leak, and you were in charge. You swear it wasn't you. The boss believes you. That's the problem. Because belief isolates you. Now everyone knows you're protected. And protection breeds resentment. You start noticing small things. Meetings happening without you. Conversations stopping when you enter. Eye contact held half a second too long. You check your car every morning. You sit facing doors. You change routines weekly. You tell yourself it's precaution. But it's fear. At 28, they promote you. Youngest capo in the organization's history. The ceremony is quiet, formal. The boss places a hand on your shoulder. You're the future, he says. Some men clap, others don't. You don't notice who stays silent. You should have. 6 months later, the boss suffers a stroke. Not fatal, but weakening. Power shifts instantly. The underboss takes control temporarily. He smiles at you in meetings. Too much. Asks your advice publicly. Too much. You don't realize you're being elevated to be isolated. Golden boys shine brightest before they burn. The vote happens without warning. Emergency council. All capos present. You sit confident. Why wouldn't you be? You've earned this. The underboss stands. Talks about recent failures. Mentions the port incident. mentions internal leaks, mentions instability. Then he says your name, not as accusation, as solution. A sacrificial gesture to restore trust. You laugh softly. You think it's a tactic. Then you see the hands, one by one, raised. Men you mentored, men you protected, men who called you brother. They don't look at you. The vote is unanimous, except yours. You don't raise your hand. They don't kill you in the room. That would make you a martyr. Instead, they mark you, officially, quietly, a death authorization, active immediately. You're given 1 hour to leave headquarters. No escort, no protection, just a warning. Don't make this messy. Golden Boy, now marked for death. You don't run home, you don't call anyone. You disappear before they expect you to. Because you've been planning for this. Since the port incident, you weren't blind. You were patient. You had contingencies, hidden cash, safe apartments, fake IDs. Because Golden Boys don't survive by being naive. They survive by seeing the knife before it's raised. But survival isn't victory. Your mother's house is under watch. Your girlfriend is questioned. Your former crew replaces you within 48 hours. The machine keeps moving. Without you, that's when it hits. You were never the future. You were insulation, a lightning rod for instability, a convenient fall guy. You track the underboss quietly. You could retaliate. You have proof. Real proof of who leaked the shipment. It wasn't you. It was him. He set it up to create leverage, to create a narrative, to create your fall. You could expose him. Start a war. But wars create bodies, and bodies create consequences. You finally understand something the boss once implied. Power isn't about dominance. It's about timing. Weeks pass. The death order remains active. But no one finds you. Because the organization is busy, internal tension rising. Your removal didn't stabilize anything. It accelerated decay. The underboss underestimated one thing. You weren't just golden. You were glue. Revenue drops. Allies hesitate. Police pressure increases. He needs a scapegoat again. But you're not there anymore. You meet him once more. Public place. Daylight. He doesn't expect it. You sit across from him calmly. Slide a folder across the table. Copies of transactions. Proof of the leak. Evidence of manipulation. You don't threaten him. You don't shout. You give him a choice. Reinstate you quietly, or you send everything to federal authorities. Not out of revenge, out of equilibrium. He studies you. For the first time. He looks uncertain. You walk away without an answer. Because the truth is, you don't want your old seat back. You don't want the power. You want control over your own fate. Something you never had. Golden Boy wasn't a compliment. It was branding. You were molded, polished, displayed. And when shine became inconvenient, they tried to melt you down. The death mark is lifted a month later. Officially, it was a misunderstanding. Unofficially, it was fear. You leave the city anyway. New country, new name. 9 lives in one lifetime. You pass by a group of young men outside a nightclub one night. One of them stands a little taller, speaks a little smarter. The others listen to him. You recognize that look. The golden one, the chosen one, the next insulation layer. You think about warning him. But you don't, because nobody warns golden boys. They're too busy shining. You were the future once, then you were the problem. Now you're just alive. And sometimes, that's the only victory that matters. If this story made you think differently about power, loyalty, or ambition, you already know what to do.